Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rockstar agent in your market. And this is going to be a little bit of a laid-back episode. We had our guest, Brandon Mulrennan, who was going to join us for the show. We had a bunch of stuff to talk about. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. We're going to do a little bit of a Q&A episode. We've got some things that are on our minds that we want to talk about, especially as we are recording this. This is coming towards the end, getting close into the fall of 2017. So we're going to talk a little bit about goal setting, business planning, kind of finishing the year strong, getting set up. We've got some things that I want to recap from our episode on Friday with Hank Avink, who was amazing, great guest. And Greg, I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather, but as always, you are still the junior grandmaster himself, even when you're at 10%. So what's up today?
Drop dead with that 10% bullshit.
Okay.
More like 12%. I mean, come on.
Oh, okay.
But
glad to hear it.
Yes. I'm. If any of you guys are watching this, have this little these little chewy things that I've been munching on from Trader Joe's. Absolutely amazing. Whatever's going around
during the show.
You mean that?
Yes,
I mean, does that bother you?
Please don't do that. It bothers me.
I'm
very deeply.
So sorry that bothers you. Anyways, we're going to be able to continue on with this and bring great value to everybody.
Great.
No, but I'm honestly glad to be here. I'm, like you said, I'm feeling a little under the weather, but it is what it is. The show must go on. I have literally been working from my couch behind me, laying there taking calls with my cell phone firmly planted on my chest, as seen here, talking to people all day long. So just because you're sick does not mean business stops, does not mean batshit crazy doesn't keep going, and AKA life doesn't come to a screeching halt. So glad you guys are here. Let's get on with the show, Johnson.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple questions from the lead generation objections group that caught my eye. But I wanted to give a quick shout out first. AJ Pappas posted, he is celebrating success. He posted this yesterday. He said, my first impressions from door knocking today. Special thanks to Greg McDaniel, Matt Johnson, Aaron Wittenstein, and Beverly Ruffner for all your guidance and videos. It isn't that bad, in all caps. Thoughts and comments appreciated. But yeah, just wanted to give AJ a quick shout out because obviously that is something that's not easy to do. It's not that hard, but definitely like you've said, Greg, the first the hardest door is your car door, as they say, as you have said many times. And so yeah, AJ, knuckles to you, buddy.
Knuckles, homie. I'm glad you went out there and you did it. I applaud you for that, and hopefully you'll get back out there and continue to do the door knocking, and it's incredibly valuable. The Grandmaster and I have had many heated discussions in regards to the best way to get out there and do prospecting. He said, Greg, door knocking is still the best way to do it. It is free. You get some exercise. You get to meet the people. There is nothing wrong about doing it. And I totally agree with him. But some of us just are afraid of our own shadows. And once you learn, like AJ did, that it's not that scary, you'll go out there and you'll continue to see success. So knuckles from me, homeboy, way to go. That's a very low energy way to go. I'm apologizing for that.
Yeah, I know it's a low energy knuckles, but a knuckles nonetheless. All right, so here's a good question to kick us off today. So Scott Lamoureux, I'm sure I'm butchering that name, but I am sure on the Roux part, Reaux. That's a very Cajun or French Canadian or something last name. Anyway, how do you guys approach your seller regarding allowing other agents to hold their house open? They want it open every weekend and keep insisting that it be me, but I can't be there every time. I have new business to procure. That's good because that's actually your real job. So all right, so there's two elements to that. Number one is dealing with your seller. We'll talk about that. And then the number two part is getting other agents to cover that. So first of all, number one, Greg, would you allow your seller to dictate that you or somebody or anybody hold the home open every weekend?
You know what? That is a really good thing to ask. And I got to answer that is that we've had people say that to us, like, hey, look, I want you and you only to be holding our open houses. I said, okay, I completely and totally respect where you're coming from. I understand your point of view, but let me tell you how I run my business. And that's why I set it up with client control from the very beginning. Because in all honesty, you cannot be expected to be there every single day. What I do is I set up as like, you know what, I may not be here personally every single day, but either one of our team members or an agent that we fully and wholly trust will be here to hold the open house. Is that okay with you? And you're nodding your head yes as you say this with a big old smile, like, isn't that okay with you? Don't be a
Yeah.
dick and say
Hey,
no.
that's
Don't be a dick.
so okay. So great, Greg. So great. Love
Don't
it.
be Johnson. Don't be Johnson. Okay. Uh-huh. But as we when I do that, they'll ask me like, well, if you or your team can't be here, who are these other agents? And I'll say, well, we work with a lot of agents that are in the company, that are top. We view them as top grade A human beings, and they'll do a great job of protecting your home, showing your home in a professional manner, yada yada. But I don't let them tell me you have to be here every single Sunday. Now, for a certain point, for the first 2 weekends, come on, guys. Yeah, give it up a little bit. You're gonna have to do a little bit of work. You have to be down there a little bit, or maybe do 2 weekends of all, both Saturdays and Sundays. Then
Hmm.
give them a break. Say, look, the house needs a break, from the marketplace. It's been on for 2 weekends. Let's give it 1 weekend, and then we'll come back. So that's another way you can kind of filter in there a little bit. A little bit of a break for yourself,
Hmm.
while also giving it a break from the marketplace, so you don't overexpose it. That's one of the things that Terry, the Grand Master, calls it, becoming overexposed or becoming stale bread.
Mm.
And if you become stale bread, everyone all of a sudden looks at you as a weak sheep and goes, I wonder if we can get them for a discounted price. They're on the market. They've been on the market for a long time. They're always on the open houses. Let's undercut them. So
Okay.
it's a dance, like everything else in this business. It's always a dance.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And of course, I love your dad's approach to pretty much everything. That's one of those. I can see it because he's so. There's something about your dad, and I don't know if he's always been this way or if it just comes from like the self assurance of decades of doing it and not being attached to any one deal. He could deliver the exact same line or the same line of reasoning as a new agent could deliver it, but he would deliver it in such a way that not only would the people be okay with it, they would love him for the fact that he's not going to be there for every open house. And no, the end result would be he's not going to do any of that, and they're going to love him anyway. Like he's like they would go in and they would I can see him sitting back and reclining with his legs crossed, doodling on the legal pad, right? And just
Hmm.
kind of explaining and just, oh yeah, absolutely. And of course this is what we're going to do and this is what we're, and he get done with it and they'd realize, oh wait a minute, we're not holding the house open at all except for the first weekend, but somehow I feel amazing.
That's exactly what he does. He has his khakis. He's got his sweater vest on with his, Costco dress shirt that he loves. He's sitting back with his penny loafers on, just doodling away, going, and we call it the Terry dance. That's what we call the
Okay.
Terry dance. It's kind
Okay.
of like the shimmy shuffle. You don't really know what the fuck's going on, but there's something happening, and everybody loves it. I don't know why. It's just so amazing. All right, everybody, get out here and do this dance with me. And
Oh,
when you're
that's
done with
funny.
it, you're like, God, I love that guy. Who is he, by the way? Who's
Yeah.
sitting at our table? Oh, that's Terry. Who's he?
Yeah, of
He
course.
lives at our house. Oh, yeah, naturally. Wait, who?
Yeah, that's right. And he's coming to our granddaughter's bris and quinceanera, and I think he's coming for Christmas. And yeah, like
Yeah,
he is a master of verbal and emotional aikido.
yeah.
I
He
love it.
did it. He did it to me all the way through high school. It sucked,
Yeah,
man.
I bet he did.
He would paint me into corners, and I wouldn't even
Oh
know I was in a
man.
corner. And I'd turn around and be like, Mother, damn it!
Yeah,
I can't answer this thing without getting myself in trouble. But
that's right.
but that is what he does. But guys, although everyone who's watching this and listening to this, either live on the show right now, or on iTunes or Stitcher or anywhere else, or on YouTube, or you have to understand that I was having a conversation with my girlfriend this afternoon. We had about really good, about 2 hour conversation, and you know, she was saying something to the fact that, like, as a millennial, she wants to have everything now, right? I want it custom made, I
Yeah, of
want it
course.
now, and I want it just for me. And what I was telling Lily was the fact, and she actually was kind of telling herself this, is that that's not the way life is.
Hmm.
Okay. And she understands that. And so, guys, when you're hearing this, don't be like, oh, I want to be like the Grand Master. I want to be like him now. Guys, that's not the way the cookie crumbles. He has been doing this for 46 years,
Yeah.
literally nearly a half a century in one profession. So
Yeah.
when he makes it look easy, it's because he's done it for longer than probably your parents have been alive in some cases.
Yeah.
But it definitely for long as most of you have been alive.
Well, and I want to address something real quick, because of course Lily's watching, and we've got some great questions here from Bruce. I want to get to that in a second. Jessica's commenting, Brett, Ronnie, guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. But Brian Reed says most agents are really lazy, like really, really lazy, and he has a point to that. But Greg, there's something bigger here, which is going back to the wanting things right now. Like, that's not just a manifestation of laziness. You can be extremely driven, extremely hardworking, and you can still frazzle yourself and run in a million different directions and not make any real progress. And because of having that mentality, that microwave mentality of expecting that, hey, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to give this a couple of weeks, or I'm going to give this until I feel like it's not working, whatever the case is, you can still be really, really hardworking. You can be really driven and all that stuff. But if you have that mentality where you don't quite give it long enough to really know if something works, you can still not be lazy and still end up at the same place, which is not getting a lot done because of that mentality. So that's something to watch out for. It's not, I don't think that's directly linked to laziness. Granted, if you are lazy, of course, you're really only going to accept what life gives you easily. And that, so there is, but it's kind of a, it's definitely not, just automatically linked together. And so I think that's something that we have to, those of us that are driven, that are on our way to being more successful, we are getting things knocked out, we are busy, and we are working. That's something that we can fall prey to as well, which is like we master one thing, but then when we step into another arena, whether it's adding another form of lead generation, or maybe we go from being in real estate to coaching real estate and maybe taking on some agents or building a team, we forget, and I see this all the time in real estate coaching, right? Where people get really successful in real estate in the business, and they don't realize that and then they go into coaching, right? And they don't realize that they've stepped out of one realm, which is very high dollar amounts and very low expectations, into a completely different space where it's the exact opposite, where there's not a lot of money and very high expectations, right? And so you have to take these things and really understand that the type of patience that got you success in the first place in one area still needs to be applied to any other area that you tackle.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. First off, what's up, babe? Glad you're watching the show, Lily. I see you can get LOL and all this other stuff. But I think that's also really important to understand that, I mean, you guys, if you were in a different, career, or if you're in school, or, whatever else, you have to give it time. Most people, I mean, I minimum, my lender and I were laughing about this the other day. His name was Casey Dorlich. He's probably the best lender in the business. The guy is absolutely a genius at his craft. But when he and I both started in this business, it was not easy. It was not fun. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't anything. There's no fucking podcast. There's no anything. It was just hustle and grind, sweat, blood, and tears. And, he and I were laughing about it the other day, the fact that, our when you got into it, dude, it took us a good 8 months minimum to really become good at this business, or to even become somewhat proficient. So if you're that 6 month, 8 month, year, 18-month mark, and you're not seeing the progress you want, don't worry. Just keep hustling, keep grinding. Don't give it. Don't give in. I mean, you only can fail if you stop. I mean, to pull the curtain back a little bit, Matt, you and I have been working and growing this podcast, and you and I have had some very long conversations. Like, should we keep doing this? I mean, is this something that we want to do?
And it's more like how should we keep doing this? And do we make a big move? Do we keep on? Yeah, we've like,
so we're never going to quit.
We've never really talked about not doing this.
But like I said, let me finish.
Yeah.
We were, like I said, if you never
don't scare the people, Greg.
Well, I'm not. If you shut the fuck up and let me finish, damn it. God. Fuck. Okay. Let me spit it out. Okay. Shh. Quiet on set. Big boy time.
Okay. My ears are wide open. They're Dumbo ears right now.
Just.
That's right.
But the thing is that when he and I had the conversations, they're like, fuck, this shit's hard, bro. There's, X, Y, and Z issues in our road, bumps in our road, or blocks in our pathway. What should we do? We time in and time out. I've always said we will never stop doing the show. And people always look at me and they're like, how come you guys keep pushing so hard? I'm like, because there's no other option. And so for you guys in your business, you have got to have the same mentality. There is no other option. There are no prisoners being taken. You've burned your fucking boats on the beach. All right. You're balls deep on this. So go in and never apologize for working hard, working late hours. You know what? Your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, baby mama, baby daddy, whatever the fuck it is you got going on up in your life, if they're truly going to be there to support you, they have got to put on that hat of support staff. And I mean that in the best possible way, because when you work long weekends, when you do open houses, when you're out showing people late at night, they've got to be on your side. Otherwise, this business is going to be so hard, it will kill you. My mom supported my dad day in, day out. She was the unofficial second part of that team when there wasn't any other team. She was the one double checking his grammar, double checking the colors, making sure the graphics looked right. She was there. She got it, man. When my dad left at 6 a.m. and came home at 10 p.m., she was there. Yeah. And you have to have that with you. And it has to be a united front for this type of a business, because it will beat you up.
It will. And here's the deal. And of course, and you and I have that same relationship, right? We're all in, on the podcast, on the business behind the podcast, on the stuff that we're doing, the stuff that we're working on that's going to be very exciting that we can't even really talk about right now. But anyway, there's two elements to this. And this is something that I've been wanting to get into, and we haven't got into it yet. There is a difference between doing activities that yield extremely predictable results versus doing things that have extremely unpredictable results, right? So in residential real estate, there's, let's say there's a set of activities that yield very predictable results. Circle prospecting, very predictable. We kind of know what the ratios are. Expired listings for most areas, very predictable. Online lead generation, buyer leads, like we know, like Jeff Cohn and his team have done the math, 200,000 calls. Like we know 150 calls produces a deal. Every 33 leads produces a deal. No agent should handle more than 100 leads at any given time in their follow-up account. Like we know the ratios, we know the numbers. Extremely predictable results. Social media, Greg, completely the opposite. Right. So Brian Reed posted in the comments here that I think he's on day 382 straight days of video and social media marketing, play the long game. We agree, Brian. That's fantastic. However, sometimes it is hard to keep going on something that is yielding unpredictable results, right? You believe that it will produce results, and you know that putting content out there and doing those things are going to produce results, but you don't know exactly how it's going to translate into numbers, right? And so I think there's a case to be made for all of us, especially those of us that are active in the business in real estate, whether you're a buyer's agent, listing agent, whatever, to have a mix of things that you're doing, right? Where you can do one thing over here that yields very extremely predictable results. You know your numbers, you know what you do, and it produces this X result. Then you have other projects where you have no idea. It could be exponential, it could be a little, it could be a lot, but you're going to do it and you commit to doing it for its own sake, and then you evaluate the results later. Greg, this podcast is a lot like that. We have no idea. There's no way for us to know. Like, we can set our dream for the number of downloads, the number of lives that we impact, and all these things, right? We don't really know if the projects that we're doing right now are going to get us there, which is why I love that you call some of those things projects, because all you can really focus on is saying, hey, I think this is going to contribute to me getting where I want to go, but I really don't know, and there's no way to know until you just get the fuck out there and do it. And so I'm going to commit to doing this. That's why we do the show 3 days a week. Do I have empirical evidence that 3 days a week is better than 5 days a week or 1 day a week? Not really. We just decided we're going to do the show 3 days a week. And when we did, we got more successful. So we said, great, let's keep on doing that.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what was the number Hank used in Friday's show? He was talking about, 10% of your time or 20% of your time you can devote to things that would kind of add to your significance or to, giving back to the world or whatever else. But the other, 70, 80, 90% of the time, whatever you want to deem for yourself, needs to be in your tried and true practices. And something that I talk about with Lily all the time, Matt, is the fact that she's relatively a newer agent. Now, she's a hustler and she's a grinder, right? And I mean, she has bad days, I have bad days, but she has good days, I have good days. And no matter what, I say, babe, no matter what, just keep doing what you know works. And so it's door knocking, it's calls, it's doing the follow up in the database and stuff like that. Guys, if you don't know what works for you, analyze your business in the last however long you've been in the business, or for the last 12 months, 18 months, wherever it is. Go back through every single deal. Where did it come from? Not only where did the deal come from initially, how did it come to fruition? What was that catalyst that brought you to that deal? So was it a Zillow lead, but was it the postcard or pop by or door knock or call? What turned that into a deal? Then run parallels to those and see where you're spending your money on the lead gen, and then where you're spending money on your the fuck is the word I'm looking for, Matt? Nurturing, on your nurture.
Oh, database. Okay.
Yeah, where you're nurturing, and figure out where those two paths cross. That's where you guys need to spend more of your money. Drop everything off. I don't care if it's the shiniest button in the entire world. If it's not producing for you, drop it like a hot rock. Now, I'm going to go back on my word here really quickly, because for video and stuff like this that we're doing, guys, this is a long tail play. Matt and I are not looking for results right away. You should not look for results right away when it comes to videos and stuff like that. That's building your legacy. But doing those follow-ups, doing the calls, doing the pop-bys, doing the door knocks, doing the networking events. By the way, if you guys are in Danville, I have a networking event tomorrow down in downtown Danville. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Matt, you should come over for that. Shit, you live in the area.
I do. So I might drop in. Okay, well, I wanted to get to a couple of things real quick. So number one, Bruce's question about farming says 2017 was my first full year in real estate, and I'm beginning to gain traction, slow and steady, but want to start getting ready for 2018, laying the foundation with farming. Any advice on starting and recommendations for what to provide? There's way more than we can get into. We'll give a couple things, and then check out farmlikegreg.com. That's our actual farming product. We did a whole 8-hour plus video series on farming. But if you have, here's the deal with farming. My opinion on it is, start with social farming. So start with the things that we teach in Get Now Business, and make sure your inner circle is together first. But if Bruce is already there and he has kind of the inner circle, like if he's the go-to guy for his friends, family, business acquaintances, yada yada, like that's squared away, and he's got people out there, and he knows exactly who his ideal client is sending him business, sending him referrals, all that good stuff, then I think farming is a great way to start out the new year. Where I would start is, Greg, by not making the same mistake that most agents make, which is not really giving a lot of thought into where they farm, or especially just farming the neighborhood they happen to live in, simply because they live in the neighborhood and no other factors taken into consideration. So before you even think about how am I going to market and how am I going to build my farm, Greg, let's back up to the very beginning and can you give me 2 or 3 points to think about when you're looking at a farm area?
So here's a couple of things, guys. When it comes to a farm area, it cannot be because you like the fucking houses. All right. Oh, look at the pretty houses, honey. We should really move into that house over here.
Come on. This is our business is just HDTV off the air. We know this. How can you say that, Greg? You should always love the houses. It's all about loving the houses.
I say it with complete authenticity and vigor. I can say that. So in reality, guys, this is what you need to do. One, yes, like the areas, but don't just do it because of that. For me personally, okay, I'm not a big new home guy. That doesn't get me all hot and wet and wild. It doesn't get my jollies off. I look at a new house. There's no mature landscaping. There's all the same thing. There's all concrete, yada, yada. My thing, I like the older homes, like the older ranch style homes with the larger lots, the mature landscaping, no curbs and gutters. That's what I like. So that's where I would want to farm. So identify the type of area that you want to work in. Make sure that's the type of area that you're going to work in is going to look like you and act like you. So if you're a 19-year-old guy or gal looking to get into the business, don't go for the multi-million-dollar homes right off the bat. The reason why is not that you don't have the capability to sell them. Don't get me wrong. It's that the people don't have a relationship with you. There's no bond. There's no trust. There's no history there. So you trying to work with a 65-year-old guy or gal looking to sell their big mansion, and you being 19 to 25, there's a low probability of you getting that. And I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying there's a low probability. So if you're younger, go work in the townhouses or condos. Start off. Imagine yourself as a car at a stoplight, and you can start off the line when the light turns green. Either you can be in first gear or you can be in fifth gear. Now you're both going to move forward, but one's going to go faster than the other. So I started off in fifth gear when I was in business, in real estate, because I didn't listen to this advice that I'm giving to you. So pay attention. Now, that was me smacking you, by the way. Don't be me. Start off in first gear. Go find the condos, the townhouses. Go find the people that look like you. Oh, God, he's laughing. What is he laughing about? You're muted, by the way.
It's just it's good life advice for in general. Just don't be like Greg.
Walked into that one.
I appreciate you saying that. You did walk into that one, yeah.
Who said that?
You. Don't be like me.
Yeah. Don't be like me. Yeah.
But well, I think what you mean specifically is don't be a douche grunt. And that as we've regaled people with tales of your early real estate career, you were a douche grunt, and you immediately wanted to go after $1 million plus listings when you were effectively coming off of working for the forklift driver's cousins, dog walkers, aunts, nephew in the warehouse.
Yeah, they created a job for me to be a bigger douche than I was in real life. But, so here's what you look for.
Okay.
When you guys go into a farm area, find people that look like you, sound like you, walk with you, talk with you, like you, and everything else. Then look at your turnover rates, guys. Do this mathematical, treat this as a business. We've said this 1,000 times. We're here to do it again. Your turnover rate is your total number of homes divided by the total number of homes sold in the last 12 months, year to date. So 38 homes divided by 2,500 homes. You'll get a 0.0 something. That 0.0 something will be your turnover rate. Now, there's a scale here. And Lily and I were looking at this the other day when she was finding her marketplace. You gotta say at least maybe a 6% turnover rate. The higher the price point, the lower the turn, because there's less oxygen at certain affordability levels. So We have a $5 million home. Very low activity on that because the affordability on that is much lower than, for our area, $1 million home, a $700,000 home, a $500,000 home. Those will be snatched up like that in our marketplace. So look at those in appreciation to the price point versus your turnover rates. Second, look at the number of agents or teams that are in that marketplace. Is there a dominant agent or team, or maybe 3 or 4 of them that are really crushing in that area? And especially if any of them have anywhere around or over a 12% domination rate, like they sell more than 12% of the entire market. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound like a big number, but when it comes down to it, that's going to be a massive market domination, because those signs are going to be on every street corner. Those are the people that have the budgets to market like King Kong, and you're going to be like Jane. You're going to be scooped up and smashed or something like that. I don't know how the analogy is going with that.
I was going to say, did Jane get smashed in the King Kong movie? I don't remember that, but okay.
She got scooped up, but I don't think she got smashed. She got protected. Right. Bad analogy. But you guys are getting what I'm saying. So if there's a dominant agent or team or teams in the area you want to work, if you can find a different area to break into, you can always go back into that marketplace. Don't get me wrong. Just to get going is what I'm saying. Build your market domination.
And Bruce agrees. I love this comment, and we're about to debut a whole new. I think we're going to make an addition to the the Urban Dictionary with this one. So Bruce says, what you're saying makes perfect sense. I am the poster child for lumbersexual. I have a beard and tattoos. Lumbersexual. I have not heard this before. I don't know if this is a thing. Maybe this is a thing, and I'm not hanging out enough in the Hillcrest area of San Diego to know this term. But anyway, he says 60-year-olds have no desire to work with me right now, but those who work with me look like me, and they don't want to work with the 60-year-olds. Yeah, shocker, right? So, I mean, that's what you're looking for when we talk about this and getting out business all the time. What you're looking for is you're looking for the connection, right? So one of the reasons why why do you think that over half of the podcasts I produce are freaking in real estate in some form or fashion, or they've come out of real estate and gone into something else like Jay Campbell and the TRT Revolution? Because we connect, right? Like we're on the same journey. Why do I produce podcasts for other coaches, speakers, and consultants? Because I know what they're going through, and they know that I know, right? And I build an entire system around working with those super busy, high level, hard charging, high D entrepreneurs. So the whole business is built around that personality type. If I was trying to serve everybody, it would be impossible for me to construct a service that really makes any one type of person absolutely over the moon happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same goes for us, right? Whether when we're selling professional services as a team or whether we're selling our professional service, like our time and our knowledge, it's very, very difficult to make your service appeal and really delight 5 or 6 completely different types of people. You really have to narrow it down. And this is something else that we talk about in Getting Out Business. You've got to narrow it down to at the most 3, ideally 1 to 2 ideal client profiles so that you know exactly who you work with, not only so that you can tell people, but so that you can design your entire business around serving those people so that you don't just serve them so that they're satisfied, but you serve them to the point where they're delighted, or as David Maister would call it, super pleased. It's the super pleasing that generates the referrals. Satisfied clients don't talk about you. Super pleased clients won't shut up about you. That's my goal, is to create clients that are super pleased. So I'm here hanging out with Chris Lockhead, as we mentioned before. Because my service is designed for people exactly like him, he literally can't shut up about what we're doing and recommending me to other people in his world for podcast production in this case. Same thing about our podcast, Greg. We have tailor-made our podcast for our personalities and for the ideal listener that we want. And so guess what? We have people out there talking about the show. Franklin Jones is a great example. There's a whole comment section going on right now in the Lead Gen Scripts and Objections group. Somebody made the mistake of asking, hey, what podcast should I listen to? And like 3/4 of the comments were from people that listen to our show, like stepping up and saying like, hey, you got to check out Real Estate Uncensored. We didn't comment on it. Like I've thanked them, but I didn't step in and have to promote our stuff. They did it for us because they're excited about the show, because we tailor-made it for that group of people.
Yeah. You and I were last week, as of yesterday or tomorrow, we were in San Diego, and we stayed at the Hard Rock Hotel. And this is something that hit me, Matt, when you and I were doing some of our classes and our courses that we do on Tuesday mornings with folks. And I'm sitting in the lobby, the only place that I could get internet service that would sustain a video cast. And I kept on looking around, Matt, and I kept on wondering, why do I feel so comfortable here? Like, what is it about this place that, the Hilton or the Marriott or the Omni or any other hotel that was around us? Why did this feel different? And what hit me like a ton of bricks was the fact that, one, everyone in there looked like me in some way, shape, or form. Tattoos, beards, hair, comb back hair, kind of whatever they own their own style. Mm-hmm. And I all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I love this place because I feel that I can be me here because I'm around people like me. And I mean, I felt like I didn't ever want to leave there. And I've never written a review for a hotel ever in my life before, but I wrote a very lengthy review about how much I felt like home there. And that is what I want you guys to look for in the people that you surround yourself with. Don't try to be the Hiltons. Don't try to be the Marriotts. Don't try to be the Omnis. Don't try to be whatever other brand is out there that's not authentic to you. Now, if you're a Hilton, rock and roll, unless you're Paris. She's a dumb bitch. But, if you're the style of a Hilton or a style of a Marriott or a style of like a boutique hotel, dude, rock that out. But I'm more of a style of the God damn it. What is it? The hotel we stayed at. My brain's fried.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Hard Rock Hotel. I'm saying find your own tribe, right, and own it. And don't try to be someone else. That's what I'm trying to be, and I'm putting the analogy back to hotels. If you were actually paying attention to me.
Well, yeah, I didn't know when you were talking, like what hotel we were talking about. Anyway, Bruce says, that's how I found you guys. I found Greg's scripts on your website, and they read like I speak. It seemed tailor-made to my speech patterns. And yeah, I mean, that goes back to the show. I mean, Greg, that goes back to all the hard work that you've put in on your scripts to make them sound like you talk. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I mean, scripts have changed, guys. I mean, if you're using scripts, especially from your broker, like scripts that were developed back in the 80s, like they're going to be probably way harsh, and they're going to come off very harsh for most people today. right? And
Mm-hmm.
we've had 30 years of hearing those scripts, especially if you're running into homeowners that are old enough to get calls on their homes in the 90s. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna, like, they've heard those scripts before. So yeah, you can't just use those stock out of the box and expect them to work for you. So yeah, man, we've got a lot of stuff that we can get into. There was a funny question that caught my eye. This is from Jessica Church. That brings up my other question: dating within the industry, good, bad, ugly. I would assume one of the best points is easily understanding the struggles. Greg, you're
Yeah.
dating someone in the industry.
Yeah.
What's
I'm dating
what's your
Lily.
perspective on it?
Lily and I sit around and we talk a lot about business, and when she has buyers she has to work on, or it'll piss me off to no end. But if she's like, I'm going to work all weekend doing open houses, I'm like, God damn it. But at the exact same moment, I'm like, all right, I get it. You're hustling. No hate. You know what? You're just building your brand. You're being who you be. And I think that unless you have someone who completely understands where you're going and where you are and where you want to be, then it's going to be a little bit difficult. Dating within the industry, I've I have no problem with it. I actually view it as a positive. Even if, Lily's from Century 21, I'm from J. Rockcliffe. We're two totally different brands. We're about an hour apart from each other geographically. So even if you're in the same city, it doesn't matter as long as you guys, really set boundaries up ahead of time, and there's no backstabbing or manipulation, or if you guys are one doesn't trust the other one, because there can be some sleazy ass people in this business that you talk about a prospect you're going to go meet with, and they go steal it from out from underneath you.
Wow.
Not cool.
Well, if that's happening, that has nothing to do with your real estate and everything to do with your relationship. But okay. Lily says, try not to date in the same city.
Thank you, Lily.
And Jessica agrees, as long as they're not in my market. Oh, come on, guys. So let's get rid of the scarcity mentality a little bit.
Yes.
This scarcity mentality causes a lot of issues with agents. It's also why it's funny, like booking agents on podcasts. The most successful agents don't have any problem hopping on a podcast and literally opening up their books and sharing exactly what's working for them. It's the agent doing 10 to 20 deals a year who thinks they have the cat by the tail and that they better not share what they're doing because they found the secret, and they have no clue what they're talking about. So anyway, that always makes me smile. But so my perspective on it is I know from experience interviewing, being around them, and then we've had Pasquale on the show. He's seen it in the recruiting industry. Some of the best, most solid, longest lasting businesses are run by husband and wife teams.
Mm-hmm.
So dating in the industry, the dating part might be the necessary evil, but if you're really on the same page and you work well together, there's nothing like being in the same business with your spouse and they understand and your schedules can kind of sync up. And as long as you can, as long as you have a good relationship and it doesn't affect the relationship, like the stuff that you go through in business, I think it's great. Like Pasquale's point of view on it is that he loves husband and wife teams because they can really have a very long, very successful business as long as it's done right, and as long as they can kind of separate the personal from the business side of the relationship and stay in their lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what are you smirking about, Greg?
I'm laughing at Lily's comment that says, hence, that's why you live an hour away.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Because if you lived in her area, Lily would have to crush you. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, actually,
I didn't think so.
Sadly, the way that cookie would crumble, yes, I'm sure that's how it would go. All right, so we got another question in there somewhere?
Yeah, we've got lots to cover here. So getting back to one of Bruce's first questions, I think, accountability. How do you keep yourself accountable? Greg, what say you?
You just get up and do what the fuck you're going to do, what you told yourself to do. It's not that hard. And I'm being serious about it. I joke around about it, but when it comes down to it, this is your business. So if you tell yourself you're going to do something, get up and fucking do it. End of story. At the end of the day, you have no one else to hold yourself accountable to except for yourself. Not your spouse, not your kids, not your friends, not your boss, not your broker, not even your clients. You have to be accountable to yourself on all things business and personal. So if you say you're going to go door knocking, don't bitch out and be like, oh, my left toe hurts. I don't feel like I can go today. Or I'm going to do calls. Like, oh, I have so much other things I can do. No. You put it in there for a reason. So buck up, buttercup, and follow through with what you said you're going to do, because you will thank yourself in about 90 days, because we go on a 90-day cycle. In about 90 days, you will start reaping the benefits of that hard work. As the Grand Master has always said, the people you talk to today are the people you'll be doing business with tomorrow. And so you've got to understand that. I mean, we've been talking with Stefan, and he unfortunately didn't listen to this advice because he had a ton of business. He closed all of his business. Now, like all of us, when we don't have a deal pending, we are effectively out of work. We don't have a job. We're unemployed. We spin our wheels, but sometimes it doesn't touch pavement. So that's what I'm saying. Stick to your calendar. Like if you are going on a first date with a smoking hot chick or a smoking hot dude, you would not break that date because your left toe hurt. You would go on that motherfucking date no matter if your foot was going to fall off because you wanted to get a piece of ass. AKA a piece of ass means, a deal, a buyer, a seller, something that you want to result in a positive feeling, positive result in your life. So don't slough off things. I love watching Matt pinch his nose. This is probably one of the greatest parts they do in this show.
God. It's a wonder we have any female viewers at all.
They're the ones that reach out to me most of the time and say, "I love your show. You're so raw and authentic. You're hilarious."
Great. I'm glad. Guys, ladies, stop doing that. Stop encouraging them. Bruce says, my broker's not going to be happy when I write these quotes on my whiteboard tomorrow, Greg. I love it. And yes, you're absolutely right. So we're going to have Pasquale on the show one time here in the very near future because we need to have this conversation about goal setting. Because, you're right, Greg, in the sense of like just get up and do it. And the only one you're really accountable to is yourself. And that's all true. But I'm learning more and more that there is a very strong case for setting very concrete goals, numerical goals for things that you have absolute control over. Mm-hmm. So until you have absolute control over and mastery over your numbers and your ratios to where if I invest 2 hours a day, I'm going to get a lead, right? Then you can say, okay, my goal for today is to get a lead. Until you have that level of mastery, don't set that goal, right? You set the goal as I'm going to get an X number of no's, or I'm going to invest this X number of hours into lead generation. A great example is, so my weekly mission for last week, we weren't able to achieve because number one, I set the wrong mission. So my mission for last week was to get Now Business, our what we've been conducting as a live class, all set up and recorded to where it is all the sessions are pre-recorded and ready, so you get access to them right away. And then we're going to have live Q&A sessions to help you implement what you learn. So we're shifting, kind of the format. Anyway, point of that was we had 4 hours of recording last week that we had on the schedule, right? And based on the schedule, we were going to hit that, and I was going to accomplish my weekly mission. Problem is, Greg, you came down with Montezuma's Revenge. I don't know what the F you have.
I was not shitting all over the place. I just had a sore throat.
Yeah, it's a sore throat. Anyway, something with the smoke and the fire, and I don't know. You pussyfooted out on me. But anyway, unfortunately, I set the wrong goal. I made the mistake of setting a goal that wasn't entirely under my control, right? And so I have to reset that in terms of my goal has to be I can only do and I can only commit to doing my side of it. Like everything that I have control over, I can set that as the goal for that project. I can't set the overall completion of the project as my goal because I'm not in 100% control over whether we can get that done, right? It's still something I would like to go.
It vexes you to no end that you cannot control everything.
Very much. Oh my God. I really hate when I have to depend on you for anything.
I could have showed up on Saturday and I told you I would be there, but I would not be at my best. And we mutually agreed that we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So blow me where the Pampers are.
Yes. So there is a case for setting numerical goals, number one, where there's an actual failure if you don't get the very last unit, right? So if you hit 8 out of 9, sorry, it's not time to celebrate. It's time to analyze why you failed, right? So getting better at that, and then getting better at setting goals that are only 100% dependent on my actions, what I can control, right? Instead of setting goals for just things I'd like to get done, or things that I'd like for us and for you and I, Greg, to do together. I can't set those as my weekly mission and commit to it and really lock onto that with my whole heart and soul because I'm not in 100% control, right? And so we'll get into that on another episode, but we've got a bunch of stuff we can cover here. So Brian, stay busy, keep busy. It's attracted to buyers and sellers. That is 100%. 100% true. Brett McClendon says, I'm a new agent, haven't even started up yet or left my full-time job. I've been researching for months how to cut the learning curve, or researching in order to cut the learning curve down as much as possible. Even with the constant awesome banter, this podcast has been my go-to every day since I found it on YouTube. My iPhone notes are packed full of goodness from listening at work. Brett, we appreciate that. That is huge. I love it. I'm actually screenshotting that quote. I love that, and that's exactly why we run the podcast, because of stuff like that. Benji says, legally, will you guys talk about negotiations? That's a good question. So Benji wants to know, Greg, between you and Lily, and this goes for any boyfriend girlfriend team in real estate. Legally, can you talk about negotiations or active clients and the things that you're going through?
I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to fucking answer that. But Jessica and Rebecca,
so
thank you for letting me keep it real. I appreciate it. No, what it really comes down to trust.
Okay.
I mean, it really does come down to trust, because if you trust the person that you're having a discussion with, I mean, you could be having a discussion at a bar or at a networking event and casually pass those things across as well. Obviously, in a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife relationship, there's going to be a more intimate bond. It should hopefully, for fuck's sake, there's going to be some sort of trust there. If not, get out of the relationship stat.
Right.
And you can tell them I said that if the other person's not listening. But right now, like Lily and I talk very openly about clients, about different personalities that we're each around in our day-to-day lives, and the goods, the bads, and everything else. It helps cement the relationship, because you guys can bond over the same type of issues or conversations or whatever else that maybe she's having or I'm having. But legally, I mean, you have a fiduciary with the client. It never said you can't talk about the negotiations. I don't see anywhere that I've ever come across that says legally we can't talk about the negotiations. Typically, we don't want to talk about negotiations, because if I'm negotiating, Matt, with you, right, on a deal, you have the buy side, I have the listing, and Lily is not my girlfriend, she's another agent. I'm not going to tell her the same things I would tell my hypothetical other girlfriend, because I don't want to give her the inside track, because maybe she could come in with a higher or better offer with better price or better terms. If I tell her the price and terms that I'm working on here, I'll only get what I have. And that's doing a disservice to my clients as a listing agent.
Okay.
So that's really the only reason why I think that you don't really want to have a discussion outside of your team or your clients about the actual inner workings of what.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh, stop shaking your head.
I'm just just swallow the lozenge. Just swallow it, get it out of your mouth, for God's sake. We have 11 minutes of the show left. I think you can make it through without a lozenge. I hate you so much right now. All right, let's cover this. I think this might close us out as far as questions. This goes back to Jessica Church again. It says, I have over 50 active listings at any given time and cannot motivate any agents to host open houses. I even offer all of my leads to buyers agents to host the open houses. Still nothing. How else can I motivate agents to put in the time, with the trade-off being a ton of leads?
You don't have an answer for you on that one. You got a bunch of slapdick agents around you, apparently. Here, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, let me give you leads. No, I don't need it, but I don't have any business. I don't know what to do with myself. Well, then they will fail out. They will die like the dinosaurs did. One by one, they'll drop by the wayside. Fuck them, move forward. But 50, first off, come on, give me some nugget action. Tell me how you have 50 listings at any given time. That's what everyone wants to know about. Who cares about the rest of it? But I mean, so she cannot get anyone to hold the open houses. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they in bad areas, bad price points? Are they too high? I mean, they've been on the market forever.
Great question. Jessica, let us know if you're still watching here on Facebook. Let us know where you're at physically in the country, because we're curious. So, I mean, if you look at to the difference between, let's say, your area, Greg, where open houses are bigger, they are expected, and they're more productive, versus, let's say, the Midwest, where they are much smaller, typically not as well attended, and very scattered, right? So like in that climate, I didn't do open houses. I know people that don't do them at all. REOs. Okay, well, there you go. Well, that might explain partially the why you have people not wanting to hold them open if they're real, REO listings. But anyway, I mean, it really comes down to, are they going to want those clients that come through those types of open houses? Are open houses really effective in that area? And then the other part of it is, are you offering to train them on how to correctly hold an open house and really convert those visitors into open houses? Because Greg, you know this as well as I do. You can tell someone that it's a great opportunity to meet clients, and then when they go do one open house and they don't know how to talk to people, they don't know how to convert them from just someone that walks through the property into an actual lead, they're not going to get anything out of it. And they will come to the conclusion after either one time or three times, whatever, that open houses don't work either at all, or they don't work for them. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some level of training there that might need to take place, where you get 3, 4, 5 agents together who are newer that want business, and you say, great, let's go. We're going to go to an open house, and I'm going to show you. I'm not just going to tell you to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. That's one of the mistakes that team leaders and leaders of all kinds of teams, real estate or not, we make that mistake a lot, which is that we complain that other people won't do it when we won't take the time to go do it, right? So Frank from Viral Marketing always told me, here's the progression of training somebody on how to do it. I do it, we do it, you do it. Mm-hmm. And you can't cut out the first two. You can't cut out the I do it and we do it and expect them to just do it, right? That's the progression that if you want the people to actually do stuff for you, that's usually the progression you have to go through. So,
well, I mean, I have a couple of different ideas for Jessica on this one. So she has 50 listings. I'm sure she has more than 50 agents in the area. I would go and I would offer, I mean, people need to be doing open house. I mean, people need to be working from some place throughout the day. So she said the average number for her listing price is about $300,000. So I would potentially have an agent do maybe 2 open houses a day. They can do where they can work with Wi-Fi. They're inside of a house, it's air conditioned or heated. She said that the homes are renovated, so it's a nice, seems like a nice clean environment. But if these agents are truly hungry, have them do 2 open houses a day. One for the first part of the day, one for the second part of the day, maybe 3 hours each. So 6 hours out of your 8-hour, 9-hour workday, you're going to be being held in 2 different locations. That way they can be doing Facebook Lives, advertising the property, inviting people to come see it, put out a bunch of signs so that their name can be seen all around, so that they can be building more of a brand for themselves. And it costs that agent absolutely zero. If agents aren't going to do it, then I would say, set up some sort of a virtual tour, have all those homes shown, the first day that they're on the market, do a Facebook Live on these homes, and then put $5 a day per home out onto the Facebook or out onto, social media of some sort. That way they actually are getting shown on a consistent basis. Just there's no human effort involved besides the first day. And your clients are happy because they're still getting eyeballs on the property. That'd be something that I would probably say, or just, go hire Nick or Gene or one of those guys to get more eyeballs on the properties on a consistent basis. But that's kind of just some thoughts for, just spitballing.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jessica clarified a couple of things. So she says she does leave training responsibility to her broker, since she's not on a team and she's not the broker, and she should probably take the reins with that. That her words, not mine. I 100% agree. So anything that has that kind of potential, when you're talking about you have 50 listings on the market, I mean, you're losing tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, in commission splits on people running those open houses for you, and you taking some sort of a referral fee on the buyer, the buyer leads that come out of those and as a result of those listings. Now, I don't know if she's doing all the yard sign calls or if she's having agents take those, but that's another possibility. She should be capturing, hopefully, those leads by having her own agents that are kind of on her team or partnered with her on that, take those yard sign calls, convert those into buyer leads, and then go show them other homes and close them. And she takes let's say 20 to 30% referral fee. I think 25% would be fair. You could, depending on the area, charge up to 50% referral fee for that, by the way. But that may not fly permanently. Brandon Runyon, what is up? Just joined, is watching us live. Guys, this was one of my more favorite episodes, because the interaction on the comments and the questions that you guys put in were absolutely incredible. Well thought out questions. We had a lot of fun, like answering these and just tossing them back and forth. Definitely one of my favorite episodes. So guys, keep that up. We love having you guys talking to us, talking to each other, connecting with each other. In fact, there's a couple agents on that are going back and forth on the Facebook comments right now because they're in similar areas. And the guy's about to get his license in the adjoining state and might want to link up and connect with them. So love all the interaction, guys. Make sure to heart and like when you're on Facebook Live with us. That helps Facebook understand that this is a video that you guys find really valuable and serve it up to more and more people so that we can help more people. Brett McClendon says, I think Greg hit the under on the F-bombs on this episode. I agree. I agree, although he did spring out an MFer. So, I mean, I think that counts as at least 3 or 4 fucks.
I don't even know what an MFer is, Matt. What is an MFer?
Yeah, we'll let it go at that point. All right, guys.
My mom told me it stands for motherfucker.
I think we're good. Yeah, I think she told. Yeah, I'm sure your mom told you that. Exactly. That's hilarious. Your mom would strangle you, and I do mean that. Like, she literally would get you in a headlock.
Oh yeah, no, my mom would kill me. Yeah, 100%. That's why I say that in jest at the end of this, because hopefully she didn't watch the whole show, if she even did watch the show. But Mom, I love you.
All right, guys.
I want to go over Thanksgiving.
All right, for us, so the only thing we have going on right now is we just came out with the Rockstar Social Media Kit. Guys, that is a video training course, 100% free. We really got our definitive system for how to go Facebook Live on a regular, consistent basis, build your credibility, connect with your social circle, your inner circle, your outer circle, bring them closer into you, become kind of the go-to Rockstar agent for your whole social network and your community. So that's the rockstarsocialmediakit.com. We also threw in some bonus videos from past guests that shared specific strategies on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. So that is all included there as as bonuses on that course. So that's rockstarsocialmediakit.com. And then we've got another couple weeks until registration is open for the new version of Get Now Business, where you get all the content at once. You get instant access to all the sessions, all the bonuses. Everything is like you just get it all at once. Go through it, and then we have weekly live Q&A to help you actually implement what you've learned. So that's how we're going to offer our courses going forward. You're going to get all the content, hours and hours of content up front. You go through it, you show up to the live calls, we help you implement, we help you set your goals and start taking action on what you learn. Yeah, so guys, Greg, anything else you want to say on that?
Yeah, it actually helps for a lot of the people that are working day jobs still. You guys can still take this course, and just as if you were taking it live. And then if you want to, you can hit up us after hours. Matt especially, he loves taking Friday night, like 7 o'clock evening calls. He just gave you a look of like,
do you see the eyebrow that just went up?
But we will answer questions otherwise. I mean, so if you guys are on the fence and you guys are trying to do this business, but working another job, that's why we set it up like this. So no matter if you're going to do it full time or if you're jumping into it, it is set up that direction. Guys, the reason why we do this podcast, as always, is because we absolutely 100,000% love you guys to pieces. Which reminds me, I have like 5 voicemails I got to get back to. Yeah. For people that reach out to me and ask me questions, my apologies, I haven't gotten back to you guys right away. But keep the questions coming. Ping Matt, ping me. But guys, share this podcast like a virus out with everybody. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes so that people know that this is a show that other people need to see, and tell your brokers about us, guys. Besides that, Matt, we're at bingo. Anything else you want to put on this show?
No, I think we're good. Thank you guys for all the likes and comments and hearts and all that good stuff. Yeah, just a lab on the whole broker thing. Guys, if you want us to come to your area, we're going to do some heavy traveling next year. We're going to do a lot of events around California. If you're outside of California and you want us to show up and invade your town and bring the Real Estate Uncensored goodness in live form, just connect us with either your broker, your team leader, whoever kind of has the responsibility for putting on live events and getting agents to show up, and we can do what's called a non-recruiting event, right, for your office, meaning we show up, it's non-branded, but and your broker and your team leader can advertise it to other agents to help them recruit people to your office. So everybody wins. Yeah. We come in, we have fun, we deliver a lot of content, we help you, it helps your broker bring more agents into their office, so they're happy. Everybody wins. Guys, we can even strike a deal where if you help promote it and you help kind of set things up and run the event and help get agents there, we'll give you a cut off of any products, coaching, or whatever that we sell to people at that event. So message us, message either myself or Greg about that, because we'd love to travel and get out and see some more of the beautiful country. I mean, not all of it, but you know.
Well, I mean, yeah. Anyways, moving forward. Anyways, guys, we're out of here. We love you, and as always, peace out, ninjas. We gone.